Well, I'm pulling you because Ekin's really upset and she feels like you've just kicked her when she's down. She's been pied 3 times.
It's not my problem. For me, then going back and going, so sorry for pieing you, that takes away why you pied her.
No, it doesn't.
So that takes away from me why it's pied her. Yes, it does, babe.
But the whole thing
well, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah,
I don't even understand the concept behind the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger didn't make any sense. And then when I say Luca likes Sammy, people look at me sideways. But Luca likes Sammy. Why didn't he pie her? She was already expecting to be pied by him. Even when she pied him, you could tell that he stood still. He didn't, react the way he reacted with Harriet. So I'm side-eyeing him. And then, oh my God, the dumping. I feel that dumping was because one of the islanders wanted to go home. Who do I think wanted to go home? I think Sammy was done and she wanted to go home because the girls made it very uncomfortable for her. Yes, she got along with Harriet. Yes, she got along with other people. But the way Grace reacted when she came in, I don't think it's something she was expecting. And I think she was done. And this is why the producers maybe moved Snog, Mary Pie so that they could dump them in the day. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars Season 2, Episode 23. So you have, the continuation of the Snog Mary Pie. And it's like, this is just silly. This is silly. I don't even know why we needed the cliffhanger, because at the end of the day, we all know that who Sammy was going to go for anyway. So surprisingly, actually, she decided to kiss Curtis on the cheek. She married Ronnie. And then she pied Luca. Anyone surprised? No. That everyone saw that coming. Everyone saw that coming. She's too pretty to be thirsty. So there's no way she was going to be begging that man and trying to kiss him and whatever. So I think the producers just did it because there was nothing else for people to sort of watch or to sort of think would stand out. So I'm not surprised that she pied Luca. And then you have Omar. Omar was the first guy up. I don't even know what to think, really. I don't even know what to think because Omar decided to kiss Tina and he said because he's kissed her already in a challenge, so he was fine with that. He could have kissed one of the other girls, Catherine's friend, on the cheek, so I didn't quite get why he decided to kiss Tina. Even Tina herself was shocked. He married Catherine and then he pied Grace. Surprised? No. Happy? Yes. Because a pie for a pie. Luca went and kissed Grace. He married Elma, which doesn't make sense. And then he pied Ekin-su. This is why I say Luca really likes Sammy. He could have easily pied her, but he didn't pie her. She pied him. And when she went to pie him, he actually stood still. He didn't sort of react the way he reacted with Harriet. And it's like, Luca likes her. That's what I'm going to say. He pied Ekin-su. His justification is because she tried to set me up with Sammy, knowing that I was already in something with Grace, so she's not my big sister. Ronnie decided to kiss Grace because Grace is best friends with Harriet, and then he married Harriet. Harriet's excitement at being married for me, it took me out. It really took me out because of the way she was little dancing and all. It was just interesting. And then he pied Sammy, and his reason, I thought he was going to say he's doing it for Luca, but I was actually happy with the reason that he said, because he said he pied her because she said they were least compatible couple with Harriet, so he felt some type of way. Hey, to each their own. If that's how he feels, who are we to judge? Chugs went up next. Chugs, I think, could tell that Danielle didn't feel him, and I think the 2 kisses were able to sort of make him see who really liked him and who didn't. So he decided to kiss Tina. He married Sammy, and then he pied Ekin-su, and it's just like, oh my God. Because when he married Sammy, you heard, Danielle sort of say, you can pie me, and he chose not to pie her, and it's like, wow. That's a bit messy. You had Curtis. Curtis kissed Grace. And then surprisingly on the lips, this is the second time he's kissed Grace. In the Russian roulette, the Vegas night, he kissed Grace again. That's one of the things that set Luca off. And now he's kissed Grace again on the lips, not on the cheek, on the lips. He then married Ekin-su and kissed her on the lips. And then he pied Danielle because apparently of her sort of trying to explore a connection with him. And it's like he was also thirsty for it. So you shouldn't make it seem like she was forcing herself on him. Casey decided to kiss Catherine. Catherine was taken aback. She didn't expect it. I don't think anyone else expected it. He married Gabby. And then I think Casey's got a thing for the sisters. I think he's got a thing for the sisters, but maybe his family doesn't accept it because we all saw how excited he was when he was exploring a connection with Cynthia during his season on the show. And then he decides to pie Sammy. His reason makes sense. Casey is best friends with Tom. For him to say he pied Sammy because Sammy is his best friend's ex makes sense because he is very close friends with Tom. They met in the villa and they've been joined at the hip. So it makes sense that he would pie Tom's ex. It is what it is. So after the game, the girls go to the fire pit just to have a catch up and a conversation because everybody's sort of baffled by Chad and how he sort of didn't even pick Danielle for anything, given the fact that they went on a date. And Danielle is telling the girls that, oh, she pied him, and maybe that's why he's in his feelings and he's feeling some type of way. And he's telling the guys that she didn't pie me. I didn't want to kiss her after the date. I stood up and as I leaned forward, she then thinks she pied me, but she didn't pie me. And so he then goes to pull her for a chat, and she's in her feelings. This is what I think. Danielle, I said this before, I don't think she liked Chugs in a romantic sense, but she was willing to enjoy him until her person came into the villa. So what happened then is when he chose to kiss Tina, she realized that, oh crap, so he's really not feeling me and he can see through my act. Because Tina kissed him first and then she went and kissed him. And I think in the two kisses, he was able to judge and sort of, I said this before, make up his mind on who he wanted to couple up with. When Chuck was saying to her, no, you didn't pie me, this is how it went, she then storms off and it's like, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. She doesn't need to make a big deal out of nothing. She could easily have said what she wanted to say and then moved on. You have Omar and Catherine go for a chat because Catherine is feeling some type of way. She feels like Omar should not have kissed Tina in the challenge. And he said, he felt that marriage was more important than the kissing challenge. This is why he kissed Tina. Catherine is not buying this. And personally, I'm side-eyeing Omar. I know Tyreek was saying, Tina is not his type, but at the end of the day, why does he keep kissing her? Is he doing it for the drama so that they get airtime? Or what is he doing it for? Because he must be doing it for something. Anyway, he was quick to apologize. He was quick to acknowledge that he was wrong for what he did. And he wanted to take responsibility for his actions. And so she then forgave him and they were able to move on from it, which I really thought was cute. That she didn't continue to bang on his head about it. So that was sweet. You have Chugs go for a conversation with Tina, and he said to Tina, since the public sort of chose them to recouple, he hasn't really had time to chat with her, and he really still was interested in exploring that connection with her. And so this is why he chose to kiss her, because he still wants to get to know her. And she was okay with that because she said, after you were chosen, I didn't know whether you'd still be open to me or not. And I think he actually makes a better couple with Tina than he does with Danielle. Danielle, there's something off with her, in my opinion. She doesn't really seem interested in anyone else but Curtis. I think if Curtis were to die, Ekin-su should make a play for Curtis because of the way she behaves around Curtis and her body language. This is why I keep thinking that she's still into Curtis. Curtis might have moved on back to Ekin-su because he realized that he couldn't handle the heat, but she still likes Curtis and Curtis still likes her. So you have Chugs take, Tina to the fire pit to sit down with Ekin-su. They're having a conversation with Ekin-su. I remember in my comments, somebody wrote that I don't like Elma. Well, what's your justification for this now? What's your justification for her actions now? Because you have Sammy come up to Ekin-su and he gives a hug and he says, I'm sorry. And he goes to walk off and then Elma is, what? Why are you apologizing? Why are you apologizing? You don't need to apologize. She was wrong. This is what I said. I was calling out Elma. I don't hate her. I don't know her as a person enough to hate her. But I hate the fact that every time there's an issue, she holds on to that issue for dear life until someone has to pry it out of her hands. Same thing happened with her and Kaz. She held on to that thing for dear life and wouldn't let go until Kaz was dumped out of the villa. Now she's doing the same thing with Ekin-su. There's no need for her to be doing this. She did the same thing with Scott. She has to hold on to something until someone leaves the villa and then she'll keep quiet. She didn't keep quiet about the Kaz and Ronnie situation until Kaz left the villa. She didn't keep quiet about the Scott situation until Scott left the villa. And now she's on Ekin-su. Why is she making such a big deal? If she's in this relationship and she's happy with the guy, why is she bothered about Ekin-su kissing him? Because at the end of the day, she gets to kiss him, she gets to cuddle him in bed. So whatever Ekin-su did doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I give credit to Curtis for standing up for Ekin-su and calling out Elma that this is unacceptable. How dare you speak to someone like that? How dare you behave like that? I think someone needs to call her out. It's about time somebody needs to call Elma out, because it's unacceptable that she keeps doing this and people just keep turning a blind eye and just saying, oh, that's Elma. No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, the islanders go to sleep. You still have Grace and Luca go and sleep outside because Luca, hey, he's in his feelings. What I find interesting is I wish the girls would just sit back and just watch. Instead of holding these guys' feet to the fire, just watch them. Because Luca is holding on to Grace for dear life, but he still likes Sammy. You have Curtis who's holding to Ekin-su for dear life, but he still likes Danielle. And it's like, make it make sense. Are these girls, do they think these relationships will last after they leave the villa, after they've had to sort of strangle these guys in order to keep them? So in the morning, the islanders wake up. There's no debrief, but you have the girls, you have Catherine sitting down for a conversation. Well, she's a mediator between Ekin-su and Elma, and you have the other girl sitting across from them and saying, we hope that they're able to iron it out. And I think everybody hopes they're able to iron it out. Anyway, this is Ekin-su's monster. She created it, so she has to deal with it because she is the one who was cheering on Elma when Elma was going after Kaz. And now that same dog that she trained is coming back home to bite her. So I have no empathy for her. I have no empathy for Ekin-su. They have this conversation where Ekin-su is sort of saying, I've apologized countless times. What else do you want me to do? She's being told you don't need to apologize, but it takes me a long time to forgive. And it's like, to forgive what? What exactly did she do? She pecked your man. She didn't straddle him. She didn't, put her tongue down his throat. So imagine if she had done that. Her insecurities, I think, with Elma, the fact that she was worried about Kaz, stealing Ronnie from her, only for Harriet to have to walk into the villa and suddenly Ronnie's going, that hasn't settled with her. It really hasn't settled. You still see her eye Ronnie and it's like, it's too late. It's too late. Anyway, the girls are just sitting around and they're having this back and forth. You have Chugs go for a chat with Sammy. Sammy, for me, I think Sammy was done. I think after the way Grace threw a fit, Sammy was done and wanted to go home. And so she was just waiting for time for the producers to say, okay, you can go home, because that was a hot mess. Anyway, while they're sitting and chatting, Gabby receives a text message to say, can all the islanders gather around the fire pit? So everybody moves to the fire pit and it's in the middle of the day and it's like, make it make sense. I think this is why they did Snog Marry Pie the night before. It could be Sammy went to the producers and said, I'm done, I want to go home. So because they were panicking and they needed something, this is why they might have done Snog Marry Pie the night before and then had the dumping during the day, because it doesn't make sense, because you can't have Snog Marry Pie and then immediately dump someone after. That's the impression that I get. Anyway, Ron is the first one to stand up. He chooses to couple up with Harriet. Surprised? No. No one is surprised and we can't even pretend. Next up is Curtis. Curtis chooses to couple up with Ekin-su. Is anyone surprised? No. Omar chooses to couple up with Catherine. Surprised? No. Sammy stands up. He gives his little speech and then he couples up with Elma. Anybody surprised? No. Casey stands up. He said this is his best time in the villa. He's never had a better time. And he chooses to couple up with the birthday girl. Anyone surprised? No. You have Luca stand up. He chooses to couple up with Grace. Anyone surprised? No. I still feel like Luca still likes Sammy. That's the impression that I get, and I'm going to stick on that. Which leaves Sammy, Tina, and Danielle with only Chugs up for picking, and he picks to couple up with Tina. What do I think? I think that was his best option, because Sammy always had feelings for Lucas. Luca had feelings for Sammy, and I think he didn't want to be a third wheel in case those two people decided to rekindle. So this is why he chose just to couple up with Tina, because she made sense to him. The girls then receive a text message that they've been dumped because they're single. Sammy didn't seem surprised. I think she went to the producers and told them I want to go home. And because the producers didn't want her to storm out, they decided to have a dumping. That's the impression that I get, because it was a bit awkward. So Sammy and Danielle left and they sat down with Maya Jama. Maya sort of asked Sammy, how do you feel? Was there anyone else you were interested in outside of Luca? And she said no, because Luca is my type and Luca had previously slid into my DMs. So he's the only person I had my eyes on. And so when that didn't work out, There was no one else I could have said that, you know, this is the person that I want, because at the end of the day, the connections in the villa are very strong. And it's like, they're not that strong. These people make it seem as though they're about to get married and walk down the aisle. I think if I were to be asked to point to who's ready to walk down the aisle, I would say Harriet and Ronnie. Everybody else is gameplay. Catherine and Omar, I like them as a couple, and I hope they are very serious. I hope they actually do make it work, because I like them as a couple. So you have Danielle say, you know, I pied him and I knew there was nothing there. And it's like, don't say that. If he had kissed you in the game and if he had chosen to couple up with you, you'd have kept going. But we all know with Danielle is still stuck on Curtis. That's what I'm going to say. She's still stuck on Curtis. If Curtis leaves the villa and gives her an opportunity, I have a feeling she'll jump at it. No offense, but that's the impression that I get. So the two girls are dumped, and I can't wait to see who's coming in. Apparently, Jess is coming in, and it's like, why is Jess even bothering? Because at the end of the day, Ronnie's head is never going to turn. He already dumped her while they were on their season. So the idea that she might be coming in is just a waste of time. Maybe she just wants to spend some time in the sun in South Africa. Otherwise, there's no other justifiable reason as to why she would want to come to the villa. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 22. Bye guys.